Alright guys, so we're going to troubleshoot an AC 45LX Matei compressor. The problem we have right now is it doesn't build up the pressure properly. It'll start up, but it does not give us the pressures that we're looking for. Right now it's only going to run into the tank. That yellow line up there is to the rest of the building, but that's cut off with a ball valve that's up there. And right now they're running on their brand new one. So you see right here, they're getting about 4.2 bar. It goes up to about 4.7 and starts to slow down. But if you notice, we've lost suction. There's no more suction going on. So what happened is we hit about 65-70 pounds and we've lost all suction. Our inlet valve is now shut. There's my 10mm wrench. 10mm. So what happened? See, if we look on our unit, we have 145 pounds, and it keeps on loading. See, now it thinks it hit max pressure, but we've only got 70 pounds in the line. The problem being this valve right here. That's the problem. It's got a seal in there and a Teflon disc and a spring system, and this is seal up against it. And what this valve does is this only lets air get out of the system. That valve is supposed to let air get out of the system but not let it come back in, and then what happens is that valve, when it gets stuck, it won't open anymore. It stays shut, and so the unit builds pressure in itself and it reads that as its pressure. So when it hits 140 pounds internally, it thinks to itself, okay, I'm done working myself over. It's going to cut out like it just did. So the unit's on standby thinking it hit maximum pressure, and it's a very simple problem. Really easy to fix. I'll take you guys through that right now. Because that valve is connected to the line, is you want to open up your lines and let your pressure out. Because if you don't, when you pull that valve out, you're going to have all the pressure in this tank come shooting that valve out. You're going to hurt yourself real bad. So always remember to relieve the pressure. What size are we? Okay. In order to take that valve out, you're going to want to use a decent sized ratchet. Fucking A. That's one thing I kind of don't like about Snap-on, is their sockets are so tight on their ratchets. You gotta use a fucking screwdriver to take them off. Alright, so I know we still got some pressure, but we're fine to take them off. Crack all these free. Now, just I like to take them out one corner at a time. That way, in case there's any pressure in it, only one side comes down, and the other 3 bolts hold it in. And you just do that to all of them. And this part I'll cut out. We'll just take the valve out. It's pretty self-explanatory. Removing bolts. So I'll cut you guys back in when I got the valve out and show you what the problem is. What I like to do is put my hand right here, just beneath the valve, so that way as it comes out, it comes down on my hand and it doesn't just shoot down and throw everything everywhere, because it's a pretty big spring. And it's not that strong where it's gonna break my hand or anything. I've done this tons of times and it's never hurt me. It's not that fucking tough. But it is strong enough to throw it out. See, I don't know how well you guys can see that on camera. This O-ring is completely flat. So this valve isn't working properly. Teflon disc looks good, but the kit comes with everything you need to just rebuild the whole valve. This whole assembly comes out. This is that big spring I was telling you about, that you want to be careful of. And you'll notice that it's kind of rounded right here. This rounded side follows the bottom, so if you put it in sideways, it's not going to fit right. The bolt holes won't line up exactly, so it needs to go in that way. Our kit comes with everything we need, even some new bolts and a new nut for our Teflon disc. The only tools you need is a crescent wrench with a flat jaw. If you have like some Snap-on or Bacos where they got these serrations on the jaws, you don't want to use those. I'll show you what they're for. What size is this? A 13mm socket with a small ratchet. It doesn't need to be a stubby or anything, but ratchet. Or you can put on a nut driver if you want, and a pick. Okay, so take that out. We'll take this piece off. Inside here, and put your valve in there, and then go at an angle. You got a spring in here. That's going to get replaced, as well as this O-ring. You can see how tough that O-ring is. It doesn't even want to flex out anymore. It's just hard as a rock now. There's the old O-ring. We have another O-ring down in here. I want to replace this. Now the kit does come with a gasket, but honestly, once you guys do this for the first time and put the first gasket on, when the manufacturer sends it out, it won't have the gasket. It'll just be the O-ring, and they'll put some silicone. But when you guys put the gasket on and the O-ring, that gasket will stick to that valve assembly on the housing, and you won't ever need to really put that gasket back in. It'll be a good enough seal. A lot of times too, when we get lazy, we won't even put this O-ring back on because it's not even necessary, as long as that gasket's there. But I like to just put both, just because I figure out might as well. See, now it's going to come with an extra O-ring. Now keep in mind, you know, both these units are two totally different units. That's an AC 45 and that's an Optima 45. Now the valve kits will come compatible for both units. So some things you will get in your kit you're not going to need for the machine you're working on. So if you end up with some leftover seals, nuts and bolts, things like that, don't be too shocked. They just have everything for the whole system. Why that in there? Son of a bitch. Take your new O-ring. Just slip it over the top. That's simple. And then this brass piece goes down in here. Acts like a spacer kind of. At this point now, you can just drop that back in. The new spring goes in there. Now this is why you need a flat jaw. You do have a flat end on here. So you take your crescent wrench right there, get it on there nice and tight, and then just break this free. Take your new Teflon disc. Here's our new nut. Here we are. Now guys, you do not need to silicone any of this. You don't need to put Loctite on anything. It's really not necessary. Matter of fact, I hate it when guys start to put silicone and Loctite on crap. Because one, it isn't necessary, and two, you create more problems than you do solutions. And then we'll take our new bolts and we'll put our valve back in. I apologize if I can't get you the best angle on this right now. I'm giving you the best angle that I can, so please bear with me. Now what I do, instead of using a pry bar, you can use a pry bar, and then I use a 2x4 or a block or something like that. What I like to do is use my crescent wrench just because it's the perfect height. It's a 24 incher. And then I'll just put it right in the center of the valve and slip it in there. And then use my crescent wrench, like a pry bar kinda. Then after that, take my bolt, stick it up in there. And it doesn't line up, so then what I do after that, grab the valve and turn it so we line up. Ah, son of a bitch. So, like I said, it's a big spring. It's going to be a little difficult to do. Another thing you can do is take a strap and wrap it around the whole separator housing and then ratchet it up in there. I've done it that way also, but then you got to take all the panels off and crap, and just kind of annoying. This is just the way I've done it. It's been easier, in my opinion, for me. A lot of times you work by yourselves and you got to come up with solutions like this to get things fixed on your own. Of course, an extra set of hands would have been great, but it's not always there. So we got that bolt started. Hoping I get you guys a good angle. I really apologize if you guys don't see this too well. Alright, there we go. Now our valve is sitting in there, and we just got to tighten her up. And again, the only tools we needed was a 6mm socket, or Allen socket, a ratchet, some pliers, and a crescent wrench to act as a pry bar, only because it's so much wider than a traditional pry bar will be. So now we can start the power, or turn on the power and then start the unit up. We'll see how the pressure does start our ball valves. We just need to shut this one. So we're at 0 bar. Oh, this should be PSI. I don't know who put it in bar, but we can still look at our pressure gauge to get it. If I remember correctly, I believe 18.4 times your bar number is going to give you your PSI. So if, like, say you have, 7 bar and you want to know how much that is, multiply it by 18.4 and you get your PSI level. Wrong ventilation. Yeah, it's because I got all the panels open. Let's see if it's not going to do it because this door's open. It's got a door switch right here. So we'll just shut this door for now. Leave the other one alone. There we go. Solenoid clicked in. You won't hear it on camera, but I heard it. A lot of air being sucked in. Now we'll watch our pressure switch. See how fast that is. So remember, before we stopped right here in the center between 50 and 100. And look at that. Shot right past it. Still going. We're good. In a second, you'll hear the, there we go, maximum pressure. Perfect. Problem solved, guys. Okay, so thanks for watching. This was a troubleshoot on an AC 45 Matei compressor, pressure problems. Now, again, this is just one issue that it can be. A low pressure problem can be a couple of different other things. This isn't the only problem, this is just the main one. And again, with my experience, I already understand some of the main things to check. 90% of the time that valve is going to be your problem when it comes to pressure. Other times you can have a bad solenoid valve, a bad offload valve, a bad pressure relief valve, a leaking safety valve, a couple other things, but 90% of the time that non-return valve is going to be it. Okay guys, so thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I gotta do minor services on both these units. Y'all have a good day. Thanks.